If you have any connection to London property right now, this will shock you. Flats are unsellable, prices are in freefall, and the market is unraveling fast. Here is every reason it is happening, starting with the biggest one. Number 6. The mortgage prisoner crisis. Let's start where most people think they are safest, inside their mortgage arrangement. But here is what is happening in 2026 that most lenders will not advertise. In April of this year, the Bank of England's own analysis estimates that around 2 million households will pay between £200 and £499 more per month on their mortgage by late 2026. Another 1 million households will face increases of £500 or more. Think about what that means in actual money. A £250,000 mortgage at 2% costs roughly £1,060 a month. That same mortgage at the current 5.5% climbs to around £1,535. That is nearly £5,700 extra every single year. Money that has to come from somewhere. The school holiday gets cancelled, the boiler replacement gets deferred, your children's activities get cut, your safety margin disappears. But here is the part the banks do not tell you when you phone for a new rate. Your lender has just revalued your flat, and they have knocked thousands off the number. That pushes you into a worse loan-to-value band. Your equity evaporates on paper while your payments climb in reality. If your building has any cladding question, any service charge over the lender's threshold, any leasehold issue at all, you become what the industry calls a mortgage prisoner. You cannot remortgage, you cannot move. You are trapped between an impossible choice. Accept whatever rate they offer or lose the property entirely. Major lenders including Halifax, Santander, Barclays and NatWest have all tightened their flat criteria significantly. The average UK standard variable rate sits at 7.15% in April 2026, with some lenders pushing 8%. On that £250,000 mortgage, you are looking at roughly £1,860 a month. That is £800 gone forever every single month for absolutely nothing. Nothing but the privilege of maintaining the same property in a declining market. This is not happening to speculators or wealthy investors who took calculated risks. This is happening to the nurse who skipped holidays for 6 years, the accountant who finally felt secure, the person who did exactly what they were told and believed property was the solution. They are the ones staring at the remortgage offer in tears. Number 5. The service charge spiral that eats savings. Here is something that does not get mentioned enough. Service charges in England rose 41% between 2019 and 2024. According to the Property Institute, that takes the average leaseholder bill to £3,634 a year. In Southwark, where flats account for 85% of all residential sales, leaseholders are paying substantially more. New build developments with concierges, gyms and rooftop terraces routinely run service charges over £5,000 a year. Some residents have reported jumps of 60% or more in just a few years. These are not theoretical numbers. They are money coming out of real people's accounts every single month. And here is the hidden consequence that property websites do not discuss. Lenders count service charges as part of your mortgage affordability assessment. So the flat itself reduces what you can actually borrow against. You have already lost 30% of your buying power through the price decline. Now the lender is treating the service charge as a monthly outgoing, and your borrowing power drops further. You are trapped between the cost of the flat falling and your ability to finance it collapsing at the same time. In Wandsworth, where the property market sits alongside the Thames with supposedly premium positioning, flat owners are discovering that premium prices do not match reality. The location premium evaporates the moment service charges jump. You are paying premium prices with deteriorating value and climbing costs. One flat owner in Wandsworth told me her service charges increased by £90 a month in 2025 alone. £90 extra every month for communal heating and management, which she has no control over. Multiply that across 12 months and the calculation becomes obvious to anyone paying attention. Block insurance premiums for flats have entered territory most homeowners simply cannot comprehend. A parliamentary report into the post-Grenfell insurance market documented one block of 42 flats whose premium rose from £25,000 to £460,000. That is 1,840%. Leaseholders went from paying around £600 a year for insurance to over £10,000 a year. On top of your mortgage, on top of your service charge, on top of council tax. Here is the part that makes you realise who is actually being targeted. The FCA has now banned brokers from paying hidden commissions to managing agents and freeholders without justification. The ban confirms what leaseholders have always suspected, that commissions had been baked into their insurance premiums for years. The system was working against you, and you had a way to know. In Islington, in north-central London, flat owners have reported similar trajectories. Blocks that were insurable at £400 a unit just 2 years ago are now approaching £1,200 a unit. The insurance crisis is not affecting every building equally. It is targeting the buildings that also have service charge problems. It is stacking. If your building cannot get insurance at all, which is happening to blocks across England right now, it becomes unmortgageable immediately. That makes it unsellable. One crisis on its own is manageable. 2 crises together are serious. 3 crises in the same year are financially devastating. In 2026, plenty of flat owners are getting hit by all of them simultaneously. Number 3. The cladding prison. 9 years after Grenfell, 9 years. And this disaster has not been solved. It has metastasized across major cities. Until your building has a valid EWS1 form with a rating that mortgage lenders accept, your flat is technically unmortgageable. Industry data suggests an overwhelming majority of flat owners who get an EWS1 form receive the lowest B2 rating. That is, the rating banks will not lend against. The bank values your flat at 0. Cash buyers know this. They offer fractions of what the property should be worth. Imagine being told that the largest purchase of your life is technically worth nothing on Tuesday morning. Imagine going to work Wednesday morning as if nothing has changed. The government has now legislated a deadline. Buildings 18 metres or taller must complete remediation by the end of 2029. Buildings between 11 and 18 metres have until the end of 2031. Until then, you sit in the queue waiting for works that may cost thousands from your own pocket, depending on your building's status and history. The Building Safety Levy came into force in October 2026, raising £3.4 billion over the next decade. A cost that ultimately flows through to the price of every new flat sold from that date forward, and it compounds the existing problem significantly. Everyone knows that cladding is a disaster, but the silent destruction is worse. Lenders are now moving the goalposts constantly. EWS 1B1 ratings are no longer adequate for lending. Some insurers are requiring A ratings, meaning leaseholders pay for works outside the Building Safety Fund. Some buildings are required to maintain waking watches, adding costs that drain leaseholder reserves. The cladding crisis became the insurance crisis, became the service charge crisis, became the unmortgageable crisis. Each layer makes the next layer worse and more complicated. If you are serious about protecting your property investments and understanding what is really happening in the United Kingdom market, you need to know what comes next. Subscribe right now to get weekly deep dives into the property crises that are actively destroying the wealth of ordinary homeowners. The analysis is comprehensive, the data is current, and the implications are personal. Do not wake up to devastating financial news without the proper context to understand it and respond. The next property market breakdown could be the one that affects your family directly. Your subscription gets you early warning signals, actionable insights, and the truth the mainstream media will not report. The next crisis might be just months away. Number 2. The disappearing buyer pool. The Spectator reported recently that prospective buyers simply do not want to buy leasehold flats anymore. This is not speculation. This is behaviour changing in real time. Landlords are leaving the flat market because the Renters' Rights Act takes effect on May 1st, 2026. It abolishes Section 21 and forces landlords selling to owner-occupiers to give 4 months' notice. Many are exiting now rather than navigate the new regime. That collapses the buyer pool for former rental flats. New build flat construction in London has fallen off a cliff. Just 5,547 private starts in 2025, against a government target of 88,000. Bloomberg called it the worst house building performance in 2 decades. Only 14,053 completions are projected across 2027 and 2028 combined, a 92% shortfall against the target. Berkeley, Barat and Taylor Wimpey are quietly walking away from the apartment product. These are the biggest, best-funded house builders in the country. If they think the maths does not work, that tells you something about what your flat is actually worth. Hamptons found that flats now make up 90% of all loss-making sales in London, up from 78.4% in 2019. Flat owners are 6 times more likely than house owners to sell at a loss. The under 35 buyer demographic has disappeared. They are choosing to save longer and buy houses. The first-time buyer ladder in London has been dismantled, and the people still living on it are falling. Number 1. The wealth extraction trap becomes unavoidable. Here is where I need you to really focus, because this is the part that changes everything. London flats fell £19,000 on average in the year to January 2026. That was a 4.2% drop in 12 months. In that exact same window, semi-detached and terraced houses in London actually rose 1.2%. Every single category of house gained value, while flats went backwards. David Fell from Hamptons calculated that London flat owners are facing real losses of 25 to 30% over the past 5 years once you factor in inflation. Picture handing over your keys after a decade of ownership and walking away with 30% less buying power than the day you signed the contract. In central London, the damage is dramatically worse. Westminster has dropped 27% since the start of 2023. Kensington and Chelsea are down 20%. The City of London cratered 18% in a single year. In areas like Hackney, where the younger professional market concentrated during the building boom, flats that sold for £450,000 in 2018 are now struggling to reach £385,000. That is a £65,000 loss on a property that seemed like the perfect first step. In Newham, where flats account for over 85% of sales, the loss rate is devastating. More than 1 in 4 owners who sold in 2025 took a loss. The average flat seller who lost money in 2025 had owned the property for almost 9 years. 9 years of mortgage payments, 9 years of service charges, 9 years of ground rent, 9 years of stamp duty, all to walk away with less than they started with. And in areas like Enfield in outer North London, new build owners who purchased between 2017 and 2019 are discovering that their supposedly secure investment is worth far less than they paid. They are trapped with limited options. The government's official story runs along familiar lines. Reform is coming, they say. Ground rent will be capped at £250. Leasehold will be replaced by common hold. The building safety regulator will get stronger powers. The draft Common Hold and Leasehold Reform Bill landed in January 2026 with political fanfare. All of that is technically true, and all of that is completely useless to anyone holding a flat right now in May 2026. The government's own timeline puts the ground rent cap coming into force in late 2028 at the earliest. The people stuck in these flats do not have until 2028. They have until their next remortgage, until the next letter from the freeholder, until their building's insurance renews. The countdown to crisis is happening right now. These forces are converging simultaneously. The first letter is arriving from your mortgage lender. The second will come from your freeholder. The third hides inside your service charge bill. 3 forces are converging in 2026, and the combination is lethal. Remortgage cliff, Cladding, service charges, insurance spiral. Each one of those is enough to sink an owner on its own. The letter you are most likely to receive first is the remortgage offer. It is already arriving across the country. The letter that comes second is the Section 20 Major Works Bill. When post-Grenfell remediation invoices land in letterboxes, the Building Safety Act caps qualifying leaseholders' contributions at £15,000 in London and £10,000 elsewhere. But only if you qualify, only on cladding-related works. Non-cladding bills, ineligible buildings, and uncovered defects can still land enormous invoices. The letter that finishes most people off is the insurance renewal notice. It hides inside the service charge demand. By 2028, when the reforms are finally supposed to arrive, the damage will already be done. The UK flat was sold to an entire generation as a sensible first step. Affordable, modern, the gateway to a secure financial future. It was none of those things. It was a leasehold trap dressed up as home ownership, a wealth extraction vehicle with a nice kitchen. And the bill for that marketing is being handed in 2026 to the people who believed it. If your building has a clear path to right to manage, no active cladding issues, and service charges staying under £2,000 a year, you might have a chance to survive this crisis. But if you are holding a flat with any combination of these problems, you need to take action now, not next year. The arithmetic is brutal. The people who exit the market in 2026 will take a financial loss, yes. But the people who try to exit in 2028 may find themselves unable to sell at all, no matter what price they accept. Read every letter that arrives in your mailbox. Challenge every service charge that seems unreasonable. Join your residents' association immediately and work with other leaseholders. Right to manage and collective enfranchisement are your only real weapons in this fight. They only work if you actually pick them up and use them. Subscribe today for weekly analysis on how to protect your family from what comes next. Do not face this financial crisis alone.